Well, hey, howdy, hi. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch, and this over here is my teaching assistant, Andy. Today is Tuesday, and normally on my channel, that would mean it is tea time and true crime. I didn't feel like making tea, so today is Coke and crime. Today's true crime topic is going to be killer nurse Charles Cullen. So trigger warnings for today's topic is going to be murder, abuse from a healthcare worker, and brief mentions of suicide. Charles Edmund Cullen was born February 22nd, 1960 in West Orange, New Jersey. He was the youngest of 8 children to his parents Edmund and Florence. Now, his father died when Cullen was just 7 months old. He claims to have had a difficult childhood, though, being bullied by classmates and his sister's boyfriends. At age 9, he had made his first attempt to take his own life by drinking chemicals from a chemistry set. When he was in his senior year of high school, his mother died in a car accident, and that was a very difficult loss for him. In 1978, Cullen graduated and enlisted in the Navy, serving on the submarine the USS Woodrow Wilson. He passed basic training, which includes a psychological evaluation due to the nature of working on submarines. He rose through the ranks and was part of a team that controlled the Poseidon missiles. He was not well liked, though, and was often a victim of hazing. A year into his service, the petty officer in charge found Cullen in the missile chair in scrubs with a surgical mask and gloves instead of his uniform. He was, of course, disciplined, but he never explained why he wore that outfit. He was then reassigned to a lower stress job on a supply ship. Over the next few years, he made several suicide attempts and was in and out of the Navy psychiatric ward before being discharged in 1984 for undisclosed reasons. After his discharge, he enrolled in Mountainside Hospital's nursing program. He graduated in 1978 and began working in the burn unit in St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston, New Jersey. He was married that same year to Adriana Baum, and a year later their first daughter was born. Adriana did leave Cullen in 1993, citing unusual behavior and abuse towards the family dog from Cullen. She also filed a restraining order against him on grounds that he had spiked people's drinks with lighter fluid, burned his daughter's book, and abandoned his children at babysitters for long periods. Cullen, of course, denied the claims, but she insisted he was mentally ill. Now, he committed his first murder, or at least the earliest one that he has confessed to, at St. Barnabas on June 11, 1988, when he administered a lethal dose of IV medication to a patient. He admitted to killing several patients from 1988 to 1992 when he left St. Barnabas. He left due to an investigation that the hospital started regarding contaminated IV bags. The investigation concluded that it was likely Cullen who was responsible and that he killed at least a dozen patients that way. After St. Barnabas, he got a job at Warren Hospital in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Here, he killed 3 elderly women by overdosing them with the heart medication digoxin. A 4th victim survived and said that a male nurse injected her in her sleep, but the hospital considered her account to not be credible. After his divorce, he said that he wanted to quit nursing, but the child support he was ordered to pay forced him to continue. In March of 1993, he broke into a female coworker's house while she and her young son were sleeping. He did make it in and out without waking either occupant. He then began to stalk various women who filed police reports against him. Cullen ended up pleading guilty to trespassing and received a year of probation. The day after he was released, he tried to kill himself. He took 2 months off work and received treatment in 2 different psychiatric facilities. Despite this, he tried to take his own life an additional 2 times before the end of the year. In September that year, a 91-year-old cancer patient was admitted to Warren Hospital. Cullen was not her assigned nurse, but she reported that he had come into her room and injected her with something. She died the following day. Her son denied that her death had been natural and demanded that Cullen and several other nurses undergo polygraph testing, but Cullen passed the test. He continued working at the hospital until the next spring. He then got a job in the intensive care unit at Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington, New Jersey. He worked there for 3 years and claims he didn't harm anyone for the first 2 years. Fortunately for him, the hospital records up until his arrest in 2003 were destroyed. He did admit to killing 5 patients between January and September of 1996, all overdosed on digoxin. He then left and got a job at Morristown Memorial Hospital, but he was fired soon after for poor performance. After this job, he was unemployed for 6 months and stopped paying child support. He went to Warren Hospital to seek treatment for depression, but was admitted to a psych facility. In February 1998, he got a job at Liberty Nursing and Rehabilitation in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Here, he was part of the team for the care of ventilator-dependent patients. He was fired, though, after he was seen entering a patient's room with several syringes. The patient suffered a broken arm after the encounter. Cullen had caused one death there, but that was attributed to another nurse at the time. After he was fired, he found employment at Easton Hospital from November 1998 to March 1999. By the end of December, he had killed a patient with an overdose of digoxin. The coroner's report showed the lethal dose, but the internal investigation was inconclusive, as there was no evidence that pointed them to a clear perpetrator. Now, I am sure you are asking how this man kept finding work when he was in and out of mental hospitals, being fired, and having all of these suspicious deaths when he worked. It is unfortunately very simple. There was a nursing shortage, which left hospitals desperate, but there was also the fear that if a hospital pressed charges, Cullen could go free and be open to sue the hospital. So, without any concrete evidence, he was allowed to continue hurting innocent people. In March of 1999, he got a job at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest, in the burn unit. He was able to kill one patient and attempted to kill another while there. He voluntarily resigned and found employment at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in the cardiac care unit. He was there for 3 years, and in that time, he killed at least 5 patients and made attempts on at least 3 patients. In January of 2000, he tried to kill himself again, this time by lighting a charcoal grill in his bathtub, trying to die from carbon monoxide poisoning. But his neighbors called 911 when they smelled smoke. Cullen was admitted to a psych ward, but was released the next day. It was while he was at St. Luke's that a coworker became suspicious after finding medicine vials in an external disposal bin. The medicine was not one that would have had any value outside the hospital, nor was it known to be used for recreational purposes, though that theft was unusual. St. Luke's determined that it was in fact Cullen who had stolen the medicine, and they gave him a choice: resign and be given a neutral recommendation, or be fired. He took the resignation route and was escorted out of the building in June of 2002. It is worth noting that 7 of his coworkers reported to the district attorney that Cullen had been overdosing his patients intentionally. The DA did not look into his previous employment history and subsequently dropped the case. In September of 2002, he started working in the critical care unit at the Somerset Medical Center in Somerville, New Jersey. He began dating a woman there, but he saw an increase in his depression. During his time at Somerset, he killed at least 13 patients using digoxin, insulin, and epinephrine to overdose them. He attempted to kill at least 2 other patients this way. Somerset then began to investigate Cullen after noticing records were not adding up. They found he was entering rooms for patients he was not assigned to and was getting medication that his patients were not prescribed. In July of 2003, the executive director of the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System sent a warning to Somerset telling them that there was at least 4 suspicious overdoses, which indicated there could be an employee killing patients. By October, Cullen killed at least 5 more patients with 1 attempted murder. When a patient died of low blood sugar, the hospital called New Jersey State Police. That patient was Cullen's last murder. State officials reprimanded hospital authorities as they had not reported non-fatal overdoses administered by Cullen. The hospital investigated his employment history and they found the past suspicions and so fired him on October 31st, 2003, though the actual reason was that he lied on his application. A coworker of Cullen's, Amy Lugren, had been friendly with him during his time at Somerset. Now, she had reported the suspicious deaths to police, and they had him surveilled for several weeks. They also had Amy wear a wire to talk to Cullen after work hours, which gave the police enough evidence for the arrest. He was arrested December 12, 2003, while out at a restaurant. Initially, he was charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. 2 days later, he admitted to the murder of Florian Gall and the attempted murder of Jin Kuan Han. He then went on to admit he killed as many as 40 patients in his 16 years as a nurse. In April 2004, he pled guilty to 13 counts of murder and attempting to kill 2 more while employed at Somerset. As part of his plea deal, he agreed to cooperate with authorities if they removed the possibility of the death penalty. In November, he pled guilty to 6 more murders and 3 more attempted murders. During these proceedings, though, he was taunting the judge to the point that the judge ordered him to be restrained and gagged. On March 2nd, 2006, he was sentenced to 18 consecutive life sentences. He will not be eligible for parole until 2403. 8 days later, he had another sentencing hearing, but he was once again taunting the judge, who had him gagged. At this hearing, he was given an additional 6 life sentences. When asked what motivated him to commit these crimes, he initially said that he was doing it to spare them from having to go through resuscitative measures. He apparently could not bear to see people go through life-saving attempts. He also said it was a mercy thing for those who were terminally ill, though there were several patients who were not terminally ill and were actually recovering when he killed them. He also said that he acted purely on impulse in later interviews, adding that he lived his life in a fog and had been blacked out when committing most of the murders. He said he didn't know why he chose the patients he did. And that is all that I have for you today. This one falls into like the scarier version or scarier type of true crime case. Not that like murder is terrifying, and all of like the crimes that I cover and have told you guys about, they're still terrifying, they're still crimes. But I think that this one's even more terrifying because like when you go to a hospital or when you go to these places, you just have to put your full faith that you're not going to be murdered. And like that's already hard for a lot of people, especially those of us who have had like abuse in the medical field and stuff like that. Like it's really scary that like it just goes like unchecked. Like 16 years he was able to just murder people and get away with it. And I'm glad that he literally cannot get paroled for like 300 and something years. Like, good. I'm so glad that's an actual thing that they like put out there. Like, yeah, sure, you can be paroled in 300 plus years. It's also terrifying when like researching this stuff and it's like, oh, well, you know, this killer nurse and then this other killer nurse and then this killer doctor, and you're like, I don't like that there's so many of them. So, stuff coming up that is not killer nurses. I gave a little bit more of like a detailed explanation in yesterday's video. If you don't watch my history videos or you didn't see that one, you should go watch it. But no, so I'm going to be taking a bit of a break. So next week I will only have a misheard history video, and that's going to be Sonny Bean, which is, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then after that, through the rest of this month and into June, the only videos that I am promising are 3 fatal alignment videos, 1 for this month, 2 for June, and then 3 of the Reading Nook videos. I am giving myself a little bit of break through June to like prep myself for the rest of the year, get videos going, record some stuff preemptively, record some stuff for the second channel, and just stuff like that. I explained yesterday that so I had surgery over a year ago now on my shoulder, and with that there is a chance that you lose feeling completely, numb for the rest of your life, stuff like that. I was numb for about a year and my feeling is coming back, but with that, for whatever reason, I don't know why, your nerves decide that you're not allowed to be comfortable. So instead of numbness, it is insane amount of pain that I am now dealing with. So I don't know why that happens. If you know why, please let me know. Yeah, so I'm just gonna disappear for a little bit, but I will still have a few videos out in the coming weeks. It's just not going to be my regular Legends and Lore, Miss Art History, Tea Time, and True Crime stuff. So yeah, literally the only video that I have for you next week, yes, next week is going to be a Miss Art History video for Sonny Bean. That one was super interesting. And then when I return, I want to talk about the Kennedy curse because I have the script ready, I just haven't recorded the video. So in July, we're going to talk about the Kennedy curse. So look forward to that. But I don't want to take up any more of you guys' time. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye!